Hello children, I again welcome you all in the online teaching session of Academic World School Bemetara. Children, I am here with my last video of the second chapter, that is Sexual Reproduction in Biology from grade 12th. When I say last video, it means I will be ending up with the second chapter. Children, before I start, I would request you to have your notebook to note down all the important value points that we are going to deal today in this interesting video lecture. Children, the subtopics which we are going to discuss today are the seed. It means they are basically the product of the sexual reproduction in the plant. So we'll deal about the seed, its structure and development, then the types of the fruits, then we'll discuss about the uses of seed or the advantages of seed, and then we'll deal about the fruit and its structure and its types. And then finally we'll wind up with the apomixis and the polyembryony. So let's begin, dear children. As you can see here, I have told you seeds are the final product after the process of sexual reproduction in the plant. So as a result, I have told in my previous video that the ovule changes into the seed. Yes, so we can also say that the ripened ovule is considered as the seed. Yes, what is the ripened ovule? It changes into the seed. Understand? If you see the structure of any seed, that may be the dicot seed or that may be the monocot seed. So here I have drawn two different diagrams to show you the two different types of seed. One depicts the dicot. So this is the structure of the dicot seed and this is the structure of the monocot seed. Yes, so let's begin with. So if we see the structure of any seed, basically these seeds, it has different parts. The parts that we have seen in the mature embryo. So every seed, they have the embryonal axis. Yes, they have the cotyledon. If it is dicot, there will be 2. If it is monocot, it will be 1. Then it has the micropyle. It has the hilum. Yes. Then it has the radicle. And finally it has the lumen. So all these are the different parts of the seed. So let us discuss what are these different parts. So embryonal axis, it is, you can see in this. How can you see the different parts of the seed? Children, you can soak the seed, any type of seed that we generally see or find in our kitchen or at homes, overnight or for 2-3 hours. As a result, what you find? It basically soaks the water and it gets swollen. Once it gets swelled, you just remove the entire part. So you will be likely to see this type of structure. This is the overall structure, the entire structure of the seed, and these show the opened part of the seed. So the seeds, cotyledons, and then one thing I have forgotten here, it also has the seed coat. So you can see here, this is the outermost. If I draw one layer around this, this represents the seed coat. So seeds have the outermost structure that we call seed coat. What is seed coat? Now in my previous lecture I have told you the changes of different parts. So there I told you ovule has the outermost covering that we call integument. The integuments are of two. It means one is outer and other one is inner. So here this is actually the outer integuments. What is outer integument? Now these outer integument, in case of seed, the mature seed, it changes into the structure that we call testa. So you can see here, I'll just write on the top. So the seed coat, it has two layers, outer testa, the outermost layer, like that we call testa. So it is the result of outer integument. So outer integument changes into the testa. Then it has the inner layer. So inner layer it changes as the tegument. So the seed coat, it is the outer covering, hard covering. So ovule has the outer integuments. These outer integuments, it hardens and changes into the seed coat. This seed coat, it protects the cotyledons and the embryonal cells, or it protects the germination part of the seeds. Yes? Then we see here, so it is clear to you? Embryonal axis, you can see this, that divides it into two halves. The center portion, then it has the seed coat. You can see here the outer covering, testa and tegument, outermost and inner layer. Then it has the cotyledon. You can see here, these two are the cotyledons. These cotyledons, they are the leaves of the seeds, which are filled with the reserve food. Why, you know? Because when the seeds germinate, they need something, they need energy, they need nourishment. Because we see that when the human being is young or small or in infants, they are fed by the mother. Understand? Because they don't have their own, they cannot eat a kind of. So here also these are very small structure. Before they germinate, they need something. So they have this reserve food materials with them in the form of cotyledons. So these are responsible, the cotyledons are responsible for providing nutrition, as it is the reserve food. To which? To the embryo cell, like radicle and the plume. So the micropyle, if you see these micropyle, so just below the place where the seeds are attached with the ovary wall, that place, below this, it is the micropyle, which remains open in all the types of seeds. These micropyle, they are responsible for the entry of air and moisture, because these seeds, they go in resting phase. Once the seed is dispersed or when it matures, they go in the resting phase, and that resting phase we call the dormancy. So these dormancy, during the dormancy, they need air, water, so that the germination power can be maintained. So for these, this micropyle is responsible. Got that? Next is the hilum. Hilum is nothing but it is the place at which it is attached with the ovary wall. Then it has the radicle. You can see here, this is the radical which forms the future root, and this is the plumule which forms the, ये दिख रहा है आपको? So this one is the future shoot that we call plumule. So this plumule, it forms the shoot system and the radical forms the root system. Yes? So these two cotyledons, they keep on providing nutrition to these radical and plumule unless and until you see it, okay, when you germinate it, you see that it becomes with two leaves. So unless and until these leaves are formed, these two cotyledons keep on helping these seeds to provide the nutrition. Once the leaves are formed, as they are green color, they are now ready for the process of photosynthesis, and they can have their own system generated in the body, and then they start developing. Got that? So these are the different structure or different parts of the seed. So seeds have the seed coat, it has the embryonal axis, cotyledons, micropyle, hilum, radical and plumule. This is the structure of diploid seed. Just below that you can see here I have drawn the diagram of monocot seed. It is slightly different. Different in terms of the presence of cotyledon. As we know that the cotyledon in case of monocots, they are called as the scutellum. So here if you see, it has the outermost covering, the seed coat. Yes, it also has. Now here you know these seed coat. In case if you see here, it has the outermost layer, and this the large portion, it is nothing but it is the endosperm. What is endosperm? Starchy grain hota. So this endosperm, which as I told, starchy grain. So these endosperm helps in providing the nutrition before it develops into the new plant. Just below that you can see here, in case of this, as I told you, the seed coat, it is fused with the pericarp. Pericarp is the outer covering of the fruit in case of the monocot seed. Then you can see here, it has the plumule, and then it has the radical. You can see, so below these here some kind of, you can see coleorhiza, this is the coleoptile. Yes, so this is the structure of the monocot seed. You can see these in all the monocotyledon like wheat, rice, maize, all these are the monocot seed. The parts remain same, only difference is in terms of the presence of cotyledon. Now I will tell you the types of the seeds. These seeds, they basically are of two types. One we call non-endospermic seed. Other one is called as the endospermic seed. What do you mean by these non-endospermic seeds? Children, in most of the cases, the endosperm is fully consumed. It means at the time of development of embryo, it gets nourishment from the endosperm. As a result, the whole endosperm is consumed. So such type of seeds are called as non-endospermic seed. The best example of non-endospermic seeds are the pea, groundnut, etc. Yes, these are the examples of non-endospermic seeds. And then the endospermic seeds, The endospermic seeds are those which have some amount of residue of the endosperm. It means the endosperm residue is found in some of the cases. Such seeds are called as the endospermic seed. For example, in case of wheat, in case of maize. So these wheat, maize, they are the seeds. They are the example of the seeds which are called as the endospermic seeds. Now these endospermic seeds, they are also called as the non-albuminous, and they are called as the albuminous. In exam it is asked the difference between the non-albuminous and the albuminous seed, or the non-endospermic and the endospermic seeds. Yes? Now these all non-endospermic and endospermic seeds, here these are in terms of the consumption or the presence of endosperm. If the endosperm remains, they are called as the endospermic. If it is fully consumed, they are called as the non-endospermic. Yes? Now, in few cases, it's important. In few cases, the nucellus. In few cases, the nucellus also remains. So, in such cases, the type of seeds where the nucellus remains as the remains, these type of seeds are called as perisperm. That's important, my dear. What is perisperm? The best example is the black. What is the black pepper? You know what is black pepper? It is used as a spice in the kitchen. So this perisperm, it is nothing but it is the residue of the nucellus which remains. So black pepper is an example of perispermic seed. You just highlight this, it is highly important. Got it? So these are the different types of seeds. Now we'll deal about the uses of the seeds. What actually the uses of seed? As I told, seeds are the final product of the reproduction. So these seeds, they actually provide the better adaptive strategy for its dispersal. See, you know that the plants, they produce the seeds, and these seeds, they vary in shape and size. So they are designed in such a way that they can easily be dispersed. Dispersed means they can be transferred from one place to other place, so that these seeds, they can relocate, they can be also grown in the different places, so that it could increase its diversification. So the another one, it is helpful in the agriculture. You know that the farmers, they grow or they sow the seeds. So So seeds are the basic requirements in the agricultural field. So seeds are sown. These seeds, they develop into the crop. Yes, so unless and until these seeds adopt some strategy to transfer from one to other place, they cannot be sown or they cannot be grown. So that's why their design is in such a way that they are able to transfer easily by some or other methods. Sometimes for the dispersal, winds are responsible. Sometimes the water is responsible. Sometimes the other agents, for example, biotic agents like human being, other animals, they keep on transferring these seeds from one to other place. Yes? Then these seeds, they are also used as a food. There are so many types of seeds which we use in our normal food. Yes? Now, another important point about the seed, that every seed, they have their viability. What actually viability means? Viability, it is the time period. What is viability? It is the time period that maintains its germination power. So, viability refers to the time period, means the time starting from the maturation of the seed till it germinates. Children, if I talk about these seeds, you know, these seeds, when they mature, they retain only 10 to 15% of water. It means they become dry. They become dry. They completely dry. So, because of the process of removal of water from the entire seed, it becomes hard. But these 10 to 15% water is needed so as to preserve or maintain its germination power. Otherwise, it cannot germinate. It will be completely dead. Yes? So, this time period from the maturation of this seed till it germinates, this time period we call the dormancy period. That I already told you. What do we call? Dormancy period. It means during this time only the seed is viable. Yes, viable means it can be grown between this to this time. If it loses its viability, these seeds cannot germinate. It is just like the expiry. We know that anything which is manufactured, it has its date of manufacturing and the date of its expiry. So that particular structure or any object, anything, can be only used between those given stipulated time. Later on it is useless, it cannot be used. So that's the expiry period. So same here also, the seeds have their viability. So they go in the resting phase. Now when they go at the resting phase, unless and until, again it is important, unless and until these seeds, they get the favorable condition. When I say favorable condition means they need air, water for the germination. So unless and until these all favorable conditions are available, the seeds won't germinate. Understand? So these seeds, they have their viability. Now these viability, it varies from plants to plants or species to species. Children, these viability, it may be from a month to the thousands of years. For example, oxalis, these oxalis. It has its viability for a month. And latest, the oldest one, that is lupine. It has been formed. It is nearly 10,000 years old. It means the seed of the lupine, it got germinated after 10,000 years. And then one more has been found, that is date palm. It is estimated as the 2,000 years old. That means it has the viability for this 2,000 years. So this is actually the great variation in the types or the varieties of seed in the ecosystem. Yes? Now children, this was all about the structure of the seed and the development of the seed. Now we proceed with the another segment that we call the fruit. Now, fruits, as I told, in case of the seeds are the what? Ripened ovule. So these fruits are nothing but they are also the ripened ovary. So what can we say? These ovary changes into the fruit. Yes, what is ovary? If you see the structure, the basal swollen part which has the ovule. So this is the ovary that changes into the fruit. Yes? Now we see the structure of the fruit. Structure of fruits. It means fruits have different parts. Basically, fruit has three major parts. One is the pericarp, then mesocarp and the endocarp. So this is the different parts of the fruit. So pericarp or the epicarp. This pericarp, it is the outermost covering of the fruit. Yes? Or you can say the outermost layer of the fruit we call pericarp. Mesocarp, it is the middle fleshy part of the fruit. And then the endocarp. Endocarp, it is the innermost layer of the fruit from where the hard part or we can say the seeds are present. Yes? Now we'll talk about the types of fruits. So these types of fruit, the fruits are of different types. These fruits are of different types. Basically we divide this fruit into two major categories. One is the true fruits and other one is the false fruits. Now what does true fruits means? True fruits are those fruits that develop from the ovary. So true fruits are those fruits which develop from the ovary. For example, mango, tomato, guava, all these are the examples of true fruits. Then false fruits. False fruits are those fruits which develop from the other parts than ovary. What does it mean? It means that when fruits develop from other different parts except these ovary, we call them false fruit. The best and common example is the apple. You eat apple. So apple is the example of false fruit. This false fruit or apple actually it develops from the thalamus of the flower. Thalamus what? It is the basal part of the flower from where other parts develop. Got that? Now, as I told apple, then there are strawberry. Yes? So these are the examples of the false fruits. Now, these false fruits are the true fruits. Apart from that, you can also see the fleshy fruit and the dry fruits. So fleshy fruits means they are the juicy fruits. They contain the juices. Dry fruits means where the water content is reduced. So they are called as the dry fruits. Yes, you used to have the dry fruits at home. So these are the fleshy and dry fruits. Now, apart from that, nowadays the seedless fruits are grown. When I say seedless fruits, it means these seeds are not formed. Yes? So such type of fruits which does not have these seeds, they are called as the parthenocarpic fruits. Yes? Now here what is happening? How these parthenocarpic fruits are formed? Parthenocarpic fruits are formed by different ways. Yes? It does not involve the fusion. There is no such fusion. There is no such fusion of male and female gamete, because this fusion it will result the formation of seed, because inside the ovary there is an ovule will be fused, it will form the seeds. So now what is happening here, these other than ovary there are different other parts. For example, the nucellus. The nucellus, it is diploid. Yes, the nuclear cells are diploid. So these nuclear cells, they start forming the embryo directly. These nuclear cells, they divide and they form the embryo directly. So these doesn't involve the fusion. As a result, they form these seedless fruits. So they are called as the parthenocarpic fruits. Yes? Then in some cases, what happens? The megaspore mother cell, which is also diploid. This megaspore mother cell, it also directly divides and forms the embryo. It means it does not undergo meiosis. Otherwise, it will make the haploid cell. Instead of going through the meiotic division, it undergoes mitotic division and keep on developing. So same cells are there and they directly form the embryo. So embryo of such, they are also the structures, but they are not with the seeds. Got that? So these are the different types of seeds. Now the example of these parthenocarpic fruits you have seen are the grapes, banana. Children, these are actually the manipulated fruits. It means which are induced. Understand? So nowadays these all are used frequently in the horticulture. So in horticulture some new techniques are being adopted. So that technique we see, it is the apomixis. These apomixis what exactly apomixis mean? Apo means without out. Yes, mixes means mix. So apomixis, it is nothing but it's the asexual reproduction that mimics the sexual reproduction. As a result, the seeds are formed. Understand? We have seen about the parthenocarpic, which are the production of seedless fruits. Now there are possibility that the seeds can also be formed without actually allowing them to go for the sexual reproduction. So the process in which the structure mimics the sexual reproduction, as a result it forms the embryo. So that process we call apomixis. Yes? For example, you know that inside, suppose this is the ovule. Then out of the ovule there are the nucellar cells. What are nucellar cells? Now these nucellar cells, what happens? They are diploid. Diploid means two end. So what happens? In some cases, these cells, they undergo division. They undergo division and they keep on pushing themselves inside the ovule. As a result, these cells come inside the ovule. Yes? And they form the embryo. What do they form? Embryo. Now you can see here there are many embryo. So this type of structure, this type of seeds or condition where more than one embryo is formed, so such condition we call polyembryonic condition. Yes, the best example is seen in case of guava, in case of all citrus fruits like lemon, orange. Because if you see the structure of orange, you can see this structure. It has number of seeds arranged with the fleshy part. So this is the pericarp, this is the mesocarp, and this is the endocarp. Now between these you can see these seeds. Yes? So all these are the different types of seed and the ways by which these seeds are developed. Children, hope you have understand this all lecture entirely. So I would request you to revise the entire lesson starting from the video 1 till the today's, it means the last video, so that you will get the benefit to understand the concept. Children, the assignments based upon this will be uploaded in your ERP. Do download and submit it through ERP. Have a wonderful learning day ahead. Thank you.